My boyfriend's sister stole my gold bracelet, sold it for money, and then publicly gave his mother a 50,000 yuan red envelope for her 50th birthday. His mother was overjoyed and beamed with pride as she said to relatives and friends, "Look, it's my own daughter who's the best. She saved up to give me such a big red envelope, unlike some people who just bring me small gifts and think that's enough. After she enters this household, will I, an old woman, still be able to get a full meal?" I was already suspicious of my boyfriend's sister and hesitating about whether to call the police. Hearing these words, I immediately dialed 110. After some investigation, it turned out the bracelet had been taken and sold by my boyfriend's sister, but unexpectedly, his entire family, including my boyfriend who had always been obedient to me, insisted that his sister had found the bracelet. During the struggle, I was pushed down by my boyfriend's sister, hit the back of my head on the ground, and died on the spot. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn to the night before my boyfriend's mother's birthday banquet. My boyfriend's sister was putting down her chopsticks and patting her chest proudly. "Mom, for your big birthday tomorrow, I'm going to give you a huge red envelope. It'll definitely make you proud." Her mother was grinning from ear to ear and turned to hint that I should also show some appreciation. But I suddenly had a jolt of realization, made an excuse to go to the restroom, and hurried to the $2 store to buy a fake bracelet to replace my real one. In this lifetime, I'm not afraid of her stealing. I'm afraid she won't steal. Sister-in-law, what about you? You earn $20,000 a month. How much are you planning to give Mom as a red envelope? What's the matter? Not saying anything. If you don't want to give it, just say so. It wasn't until Jiang Yuan nudged me with her elbow that I suddenly realized I've been reborn. Damn it, after reading so many rebirth wish fulfillment novels, I never thought it would be my turn this time. Just as I was pinching my own thigh, I heard Jiang Chen's mother making a sarcastic remark about me. Daughters are still better when they're your own flesh and blood, not like some outsiders who claim to treat their mother-in-law like their own mother. It's my 50th birthday, and yet they can't even spare a red envelope. Jiang Chen's father, rolling a hand-rolled cigarette with his dirt-stained fingers, lifted his eyelids to look at me. "If you want to join the Jiang family, you must follow the Jiang family's rules. The first rule is to be filial to your parents-in-law. Tomorrow is your mother-in-law's 50th birthday. Relatives and friends will all be here. As the future daughter-in-law, the red envelope you give must not be smaller than yuan's, or people will laugh at us." A herd of 10,000 grass-mud horses was galloping through my mind. Jiang Chen and I had just gotten engaged. We hadn't even registered our marriage or held a banquet, and yet they were already putting on airs as my parents-in-law. I'm furious, but right now, I have no intention of arguing with them, because I know that when everyone is watching TV later, Jiang Yuan will take the opportunity to sneak into my room and steal my gold bracelet. A brilliant idea suddenly came to my mind. Clack went the chopsticks as I set them down. Clutching my stomach, I stood up. Ugh, my stomach suddenly feels off. I need to use the restroom. With that, I ignored the instantly darkening expressions on Jiang Chen's parents' faces and Jiang Yuan's eyes rolling so far back they nearly disappeared into her head. I turned and headed for the door. Jiang Chen's family lives in the countryside, and their toilet is a separate outhouse built in the yard. I rushed out of the yard gate and ran straight to the 2-yuan store at the village entrance. This was my first time visiting Jiang Chen's hometown. Previously, meeting the parents and getting engaged all happened when they came to the city. In the few times we met, they were relatively polite to me. I never expected that shortly after the engagement, they seemed to take me for granted and started trying to control me. Jiang Yuan, in particular, had her eyes on my gold bracelet the moment I walked in. She immediately asked me to give it to her, but I refused. At that time, Jiang Yuan was quite upset and scolded me for being stingy. She also said if I didn't want to give it to her, I shouldn't wear it and flaunt it in front of her. Seeing that Jiang Yuan and I were about to get into an argument, Jiang Chen quickly pulled me into the room. He coaxed me in a humble and apologetic manner. "My dear Tang Tang, we've finally come back for a visit, and it's my mother's big birthday. Please don't take it to heart with my sister. She's just an immature child. Let's put the bracelet away for now. Many relatives and friends will be visiting tomorrow, and it would be terrible if it got lost." Although I was angry, I thought about how good Jiang Chen usually is to me, and since we won't be living with them in the future anyway, there's no need to make things too tense. I followed Jiang Chen's advice and took off the bracelet, placing it in the bedside table, but unexpectedly, Jiang Yuan stole my bracelet, sold it for money, and gave her mother a big red envelope. In my previous life, after I reported it to the police, Jiang Yuan refused to admit it. Jiang Chen's parents stood united against outsiders, accusing me of slandering their daughter. Even Jiang Chen, who always claimed to love me and had always been obedient to me, shielded Jiang Yuan, leading to my tragic death. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became, and the angrier I got. the faster I ran. Before long, I arrived at the 2-yuan store. Clenching my fists in resentment, I stepped into the shop. "Boss, do you have those fake gold bracelets?" The middle-aged man in front of the counter was playing a game. Hearing my question, he said without even looking up, "Fifth shelf on the right side, go look for it." I followed the instructions and walked over to the shelf, immediately spotting the box filled with many dazzling golden bracelets. The gold bracelets came in various sizes and patterns, leaving me utterly dazzled. It has to be said that Iwu's small commodities are incredibly realistic. Those unfamiliar with the trade would have no way of telling the real from the fake. Soon, I found a style that was about the same size as my bracelet, although the pattern was a bit different. Jiang Yuan hadn't looked closely at my bracelet and definitely wouldn't recognize it. I paid for it and, to avoid suspicion, hurried back as quickly as I could. Out of breath, I stopped at the entrance to the courtyard, calming my breathing before walking in. At this moment, the family of 4 was sitting on the sofa, chatting and laughing while watching TV. The dining table had already been cleared and cleaned. Never mind that I had barely eaten a few bites and was still hungry. Jiangchen, who was sitting nearby, saw me and quickly stood up to greet me. "Tang, why were you gone for so long? Is your stomach okay?" I looked at the man full of concern in front of me and suddenly felt he was very unfamiliar. If he was truly worried about me, he would have called for me outside the restroom. Then, he would have known I wasn't in the restroom, but obviously, he didn't go. Seeing me staring at him without any reaction, Jiangchen waved his hand in front of my eyes. Tang, what's going on with you? You've been acting strange since dinner. Just don't want to give our mom a red envelope, that's all." Jiang Yuan cracked a melon seed and rolled her eyes at me. "Cheapskate." I forced a smile. Yes, you're the most generous. I'd love to know how big a red envelope you'll give your mom tomorrow." Jiang Yuan snorted coldly. "Definitely much more than you." As soon as she finished speaking, her gaze suddenly drifted to the black plastic bag I was hiding behind my back. "What did you buy?" I tightened the plastic bag and replied, "Nothing, just some daily necessities." But she didn't believe me and started trying to snatch the bag from my hand. I refused to give it to her, holding onto the bag tightly. At this, Jiang Yuan became even more worked up. She gave a hard tug, and with a sharp rip, the plastic bag tore apart in her hands. The sanitary pads inside the bag were exposed. She immediately threw the bag back at me. "You're on your period and didn't say so earlier. How unlucky," I said irritably. "I already told you it's just daily necessities, but you insisted on snatching it." I wanted to explain to her that menstruation is a normal physiological phenomenon for women, as natural as eating, drinking, and using the bathroom, but right now, I need to go back to my room and change the bracelet first, so. Without getting too entangled with Jiang Yuan, I turned around and went into the room. After locking the door, I pulled out the fake bracelet I bought from the $2 store from the inner pocket of my down jacket. I had long been prepared for Jiang Yuan's move. On the way, I bought sanitary pads at a small store as a decoy. I took out the real bracelet from the bedside table and hid it in the compartment of the suitcase. Then, I placed the fake bracelet back into the bedside table, deliberately leaving the drawer slightly ajar to reveal a bit of the bracelet's edge. After finishing all that, I clapped my hands. I walked out of the room in high spirits, creating an opportunity for Jiang Yuan. In this lifetime, I'm not afraid of her stealing. I'm afraid she won't steal. I sat next to Jiangchen, cracking melon seeds while keeping an eye on Jiang Yuan's movements out of the corner of my eye. Before long, she stood up. She glanced in my direction and pretended to go pour some water to drink. I also pretended not to notice, keeping my eyes fixed on the TV, but out of the corner of my eye, I was watching Jiang Yuan's every move. After pouring the water, she looked around and then turned on her heel, slipping into my room. I continued to pretend not to know, occasionally complaining about the show with Jiangchen. Soon, Jiang Yuan came out with a triumphant look on her face, as soon as she sat on the sofa. I confronted her. Yuan, where did you go? So it's true that a guilty conscience needs no accuser." When Jiang Yuan heard my question, she was startled. She looked flustered but pretended to be calm. "I went to drink water." "What's it to you? Do you have to control even drinking water? Do you live by the sea?" No, I smiled. "I just wanted to tell you that your idol was singing just now, and you missed it." Jiang Yuan grabbed some melon seeds to hide her unease. "Missing it is no big deal. Next time, I'll just go to his concert directly." I nodded and didn't say anything more to her, so as not to alert the enemy. The next morning, after I got up, I happened to run into Jiang Yuan as she was about to go out. I knew very well that she was probably going to sell the bracelet, but I still pretended to ask her, Yuan, where are you going so early in the morning?" Jiang Yuan crossed her arms and looked at me with her chin raised. I'm going to the bank to withdraw money. If I don't withdraw money, how can I give my mom a big red envelope? I nodded and gave her a thumbs up. You're really filial. Jiang Yuan snorted coldly and hurried away. After she had walked away, Jiang Chen asked me, Tang Tang, how much are you planning to give our mom in the red envelope? I furrowed my brows. In fact, I didn't come empty-handed this time. My dad gave me his privately stored Anxi Tiguanyin tea, which costs 100,000 yuan per gene. My mom also had me bring 50 grams of Vietnamese wild cave bird's nest, costing 2,000 per gram. Because the packaging was quite exquisite, they probably thought it wasn't a significant gift. Before I could even introduce it, Jiang Chen's mother rolled her eyes and tossed it into a corner. On the same morning in my previous life, Jiang Chen also asked me how much red envelope money I gave his mother. I thought about the value of the gift and suggested giving 2,000 yuan, but unexpectedly, he looked troubled. Tang Tang, my sister has been unemployed for years and hasn't worked, but she still promised to give our mom a big red envelope. Both of us have good jobs. Isn't 2,000 a bit too little at that time, because I hadn't discovered the bracelet was stolen yet? And considering his mother's 50th birthday was quite a grand occasion, I gave a red envelope with 5,000 yuan. This time, not only will I not give a single cent, but I'm also taking my gift back. I'd rather feed it to the pigs than give it to them. Jiang Chen, I don't think your mother liked the gift I brought. In that case, how about I convert the gift into a red envelope? What do you think? Jiang Chen and I are in an office romance. To protect his self-esteem, I never told him about my family background. He naturally had no idea how much the gift I brought was worth. When Jiang Chen heard that I wanted to convert the gift into a red envelope, his eyes lit up. Good Tang Tang, it's great that you can do this. To be honest, I didn't want to say it before to spare your feelings, but your gift was a bit too petty. All right, this idiot, I must have been out of my mind in my past life to have fallen for him. I smiled faintly and said, fine, then, whatever your sister gives, I'll double it. Let's see how much money she can give her mom as a red envelope with that fake $2 bracelet. Jiang Chen's face immediately lit up with joy when he heard me say that. He hugged me and gave me a kiss. My dear Tang Tang is the most well-mannered. Yuck. While he wasn't paying attention, I quickly wiped away his saliva with an alcohol wipe, while I was having breakfast and picking up a fried egg with my chopsticks. Another pair of chopsticks suddenly reached over. Smack. They hit my chopsticks. The fried egg fell back onto the plate. I looked up, confused. Jiang Chen's mother stretched out her other hand toward me. Today is my 50th birthday. You can only eat after giving me the red envelope. I almost choked and couldn't help but roll my eyes inwardly. But this time, Jiang Chen was the one who spoke up first. Mom, don't worry. He put the fried egg back into my bowl again, Tang Tang said. Whatever amount your younger sister gives you as a red envelope, she'll give double. As soon as Jiang Chen finished speaking, his mother's small eyes instantly lit up with a sharp gleam. Really? Oh my, I knew it. Tang Tang is so sensible. She's definitely going to give this birthday mother-in-law a big red envelope. Not bad. She has the awareness of a Jiang family daughter-in-law. The 10,000 alpacas in my heart are galloping again. Jiang Chen's mother beamed with joy and proactively picked up an egg to put in my bowl. Come on, Tang Tang, eat more. Then, she craned her neck to look toward the door. Why hasn't Yuan come back yet after going to withdraw money? I just smiled without saying a word and happily ate 2 fried eggs. Not long after finishing breakfast, Jiang Chen's relatives started arriving one after another. Jiang Chen's mother told everyone she met that Jiang Yuan had gone to the bank to withdraw money to give her a big red envelope for her 50th birthday. When their relatives heard about it, they all wanted to see just how big a red envelope Jiang Yuan could give. Jiang Chen's mother, thrilled to have such a chance to show off, decided she wouldn't even bother preparing a meal. She brought out tea and sunflower seeds, inviting everyone to stand or sit as they pleased at the entrance. Once I get that big red envelope from our Yuan, I'll treat everyone to lunch at the restaurant in town today. Villagers rarely had the chance to eat in town throughout the year. Hearing Jiang Chen's mother say this, everyone was filled with anticipation. While chatting, everyone eagerly looked toward the village entrance. Hey, your Yuan is back. No one knew who first spotted Jiang Yuan. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately turned their heads in unison toward the village entrance. Before Jiang Yuan could reach them, Jiang Chen's mother hurried forward, pulling her into the center of the crowd. Sweetie, did you get the money? All eyes were on Jiang Yuan, who was taken aback at first, then quickly flustered. I got it back. What about the red envelope? Hurry up and take it out. So many relatives and friends are here, all waiting to see the big red envelope you're giving me. I already promised them that we'd use the red envelope you gave to treat everyone to a meal in town later. Jiang Yuan's face turned pale as she tried to pull her mother inside. Mom, it's just a red envelope. Why are you making everyone gather here? Let's hurry up and cook. It's your birthday today, and I'll be the one cooking. But her mother didn't budge and instead said cheerfully, You silly child, why are you still shy? Your sister-in-law said she'll learn from you, whatever you give. She'll double it. Upon hearing this, everyone burst into another round of chattering discussion. I wasn't in a hurry, but Jiang Yuanyuan was anxious, and she shot me a glare. Lin Tang, it's all your fault, your bracelet. She started to say something but then stopped, finally saying, as the future daughter-in-law, you should have given my mom a big red envelope. Why are you causing trouble here? I smiled slightly. Well, I just wanted everyone to witness it, otherwise. What if you give too much and I can't match it and end up backing out? Jiang Yuanyuan glared at me fiercely. Just as she was about to speak, I spotted the corner of a red envelope peeking out from her pocket. I pulled it out in one go and quickly handed it to her mother. Yuanyuan, didn't you already prepare the red envelope? Hurry up and give it to Auntie. Jiang Yuanyuan snapped back to reality, suddenly jumped up, and tried to snatch the red envelope from her mother's hand. Mom. Wait a moment, but her mother was even faster, already cheerfully tearing it open. At a glance, her expression instantly changed dramatically. 50 yuan, how come there's only 50 yuan? All the relatives and friends craned their necks to look at the red envelope in Jiang Chen's mother's hand, their faces showing expressions of schadenfreude and cold, mocking sneers. Yuan, did you put the wrong amount? This, how is it only 50 yuan? Jiang Yuanyuan was so anxious that she was sweating in the middle of winter. Her lips trembled, but she couldn't speak. The relative who had already disliked Jiang Chen's mother's boastful attitude earlier was now grinning from ear to ear. Big sister's 50th birthday, and the red envelope is 50 yuan. Quite fitting. Ha ha ha, this red envelope is so big. It's even bigger than the 500 my daughter gave me on my birthday. Oh right, I'm talking about the envelope itself. These days, even giving to beggars costs more than 50. What, are you being made a fool of by your own daughter? Jiang Chen's mother's face turned red and then pale upon hearing these words. She abruptly grabbed Jiang Yuanyuan and slapped her across the face. You idiot, if you don't have money, why are you bragging? You made me lose face in front of my relatives. Jiang Yuanyuan was struck so hard that her head snapped to the side. She covered her heavily swollen cheek. Not daring to make a sound, the relatives and friends laughed even louder. Jiang Chen's mother was burning with shame. She raised her hand to hit Jiang Yuanyuan again, but Jiang Yuanyuan caught her by the wrist. Mom, she thought for a few seconds, gritted her teeth, and abruptly unzipped the crossbody bag. What's the rush? The money's right here. As the bag was opened, dozens of thick stacks of cash came into everyone's view. Hiss. A sharp intake of breath was heard. And everyone's eyes widened, but my heart sank. Didn't I already switch the bracelet? Where did she get the money? I checked again before going to bed last night, and my real bracelet was safely stored in the suitcase. Did she sneak out to steal again while I was asleep in the middle of the night? But I clearly locked the door. When Jiang Chen's mother saw so much money, her eyes nearly popped out of her head. She quickly reached out, grabbed a few stacks of cash, patted them in her palm, and beamed with joy. I knew it. How could my daughter lie to me? After saying that, she started counting the money while moistening her fingers with saliva. Everyone stared wide-eyed. 47,000, 48,000, 49,000, 50,000. Oh my dear daughter gave me a full 50,000 yuan red envelope. It really wasn't for nothing that I raised her. At this, the relatives who had just been kicking her while she was down were all smiles again. Yuanyuan is so filial. I never expected her to give 50,000 yuan right away. She's really accomplished. I'm so envious of you, big sister, that ungrateful child of mine. Who knows when he'll ever earn money to spend on me? Everyone was chiming in with compliments, making Jiang Chen's mother overjoyed. At that moment, Jiang Yuanyuan snorted coldly, her eyes scanning the crowd one by one before finally landing on me. Sister-in-law, didn't you say that whatever I give to our mother, you'd give double? Now that I've given 50,000, shouldn't you be taking out 100,000? Everyone here is watching. Everyone turned their attention to me again. Jiang Chen's mother was the first to speak. That's right, Tang, our Yuanyuan keeps her word, so you can't go back on yours either. Someone else started to stir things up. Exactly, we all heard it. Both your daughter and daughter-in-law are so filial. Sister-in-law, you're truly blessed. I was still pondering exactly which part had gone wrong when Jiang Yuanyuan arrogantly pushed my shoulder. Sister-in-law, have you gone mute? It's your turn to take out the red envelope. Learn from me. Be more open and generous in how you conduct yourself. If you can't deliver, don't boast and act pretentious. Just then, the crowd of onlookers was pushed aside from the outside, and a burly man grabbed Jiang Yuanyuan by the hair. You damn woman, how dare you cheat me out of my money? Jiang Yuanyuan cried out in pain, letting out a scream like a slaughtered pig. Ah, who are you? Let go of me. The burly man lifted Jiang Yuanyuan over and pointed at his own face. Take a good look. It's me. Jiang Yuanyuan rubbed the back of her head as she looked up with tear-filled eyes. With just one glance, her face instantly turned deathly pale. She was completely panicked. big brother, let's talk this through properly. Please let go first." Jiang Chen and his parents also hurried over, trying to persuade the big man to release Jiang Yuanyuan. "What on earth is going on? How can you just start hitting someone right away?" Jiang Chen's mother shot the big man a displeased look, but she was still a bit intimidated because of his tall and burly stature. Jiang Yuanyuan, ignoring the pain in her scalp, urgently pulled the big man. "Come on, big brother, let's go inside and talk." But the big man wouldn't listen to her at all. "Go where? We'll talk right here." A burly man pulled a familiar-looking bracelet from his bag and threw it on the ground. "You dare trick me with this piece of junk? The moment you walked in and said you wanted to sell a gold bracelet, I told you it was fake and I wouldn't take it. Who would have thought that in the short time I went to the bathroom? You have the nerve to deceive my 80-year-old mother. Hurry up, give me my money back." After the big man explained the whole story, everyone was momentarily stunned. Jiang Yuanyuan's face quickly flushed red. She pointed a trembling finger at me, her lips moving several times, but no words came out. I knew she wanted to say the fake bracelet was mine, but if she said it, wouldn't that mean she admitted to stealing my bracelet with her own words? At that time, in front of so many relatives, she would have to endure being criticized and shamed once again. Slap. Jiang Yuanyuan's face was slapped again, and now it was symmetrical. Jiang Chen's mother withdrew her hand and angrily accused Jiang Yuanyuan. "You ill-bred wretch, how dare you deceive people with a fake bracelet, and even try to fool me? It seems you've grown tired of living." Relatives and friends also responded with jeers. "I always said Jiang Ermei hasn't worked for years, and she's usually lazy and gluttonous. Where would she get so much money? Turns out it was all through deception." Elder sister, you really should know your own daughter's capabilities. How could you be so dazzled when she mentioned a big red envelope? It's absolutely laughable. Ha ha ha. No wonder the red envelope only had 50 in it at first, and you didn't dare take the money out of your bag. You knew the money was obtained through deception and were afraid someone would come looking for you. The sarcastic remarks from relatives and friends made Jiang Chen's mother even more unable to hold her head up, and she grabbed Jiang Yuanyuan and gave her a beating. The sounds of mockery and wailing filled the air, each one clearly audible. Watching the chaotic scene, I crossed my arms and smiled. While Jiang Chen and his father were busy trying to mediate the argument, I quickly slipped back into the house, grabbed my already packed suitcase, and made a run for it. Before leaving, I made sure to take back the tea and bird's nest I had given as gifts. I first took a rural bus to the town, then transferred to a long-distance bus heading to the city. While waiting for the train at the city's high-speed rail station to go back to my home, Jiang Chen called. I didn't answer. He then sent a message. "Tung Tung, where have you gone? Where is your bag and the gifts you brought? What are you up to?" I asked the villagers, and they said they saw you leave by car. "Tung Tung, what do you mean by this? Is it just because you didn't want to give my mom a birthday red envelope?" Lin Tang, I really didn't expect you to be such a stingy person. I didn't want to deal with him, but then I remembered there was one more thing I had forgotten to do. I typed away furiously on my phone and sent him a reply. "Let's break up. My mom doesn't want me associating with families of questionable character." After sending it, I ignored him completely, turned off my phone, and got in line to check my ticket. As soon as I returned to my hometown and stepped out of the high-speed rail station, I saw my parents already waiting for me. I dropped my suitcase and ran up to them, hugging my parents and crying. If it weren't for fate giving me a second chance at life, I wouldn't be able to return to the side of my beloved parents at this moment. My parents, who didn't understand why I was crying, were very worried. They comforted me while asking, "What's wrong, sweetie? Weren't you going to celebrate your future mother-in-law's birthday? Why didn't Jiang Chen come back with you?" I didn't know how to explain to them everything I had experienced at Jiang Chen's house, and the fact that I had been reborn. Just tell them that I've broken up with Jiang Chen. They thought I was crying because of the breakup and comforted me, saying they never liked Jiang Chen anyway and that it's good we broke up. Jiang Chen sent me a lot of messages, including many 60-second voice notes. I couldn't even be bothered to listen to them and just blocked him directly. He also called me using his parents' and Jiang Yuanyuan's phones. As soon as I heard it was him, I hung up and blocked them too. I took a leave from the company and planned to rest for 2 days before going back to work. Unexpectedly, the next day, I received a call from a colleague. As soon as I answered, it turned out to be Jiang Chen's mother's dissatisfied voice on the other end. "Lin Tang, you are so ill-mannered. Not only do you not answer our calls, but you also block us. If there's an emergency at home and we need to reach you, can you afford the delay?" I was completely baffled. "Wait, I've already broken up with Jiang Chen, so why is she questioning me in that mother-in-law tone?" I replied impatiently. "Did Jiang Chen not tell you? I've broken up with him." So why should I still answer your calls? Besides, what does anything that happens in your family have to do with me? Hearing this, Jiang Chen's mother became even more furious. You and Xiaochen are already engaged. How can you just break up like that without our family's consent? The money wasn't spent for nothing. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. It's just an engagement, not marriage. My family's approval is all that matters. You, Mom, let me handle this. Jiang Chen's mother was interrupted as Jiang Yuanyuan's voice chimed in. Lin Tang, if you want to break up with my brother, fine, but you have to return the red envelopes my brother gave to your relatives during the engagement, and every transfer he made to you during your relationship, every cent he spent on you, every gift he bought you, cash it all out and return it to us. I never expected them to pull this kind of stunt. Jiang Chen and I had been together for 2 years. And when we went up for meals or dates, we took turns paying. For special holiday money transfers, I either add a bit more and send it back, or buy a gift of similar value to return the gesture, and every time Jiang Chen gives me a gift, I always return the favor with one of my own. As for the engagement red envelope from their family, not only did our family cover the banquet expenses, but we also paid for their relatives' flights and accommodation, and even gave each of them a souvenir gift. In both my past life and this one, I've encountered all kinds of absurd situations with Jiang Chen's family. Fortunately, it wasn't discovered too late. Since they insist on being so unreasonable, I'll settle this account with them properly. I arranged to meet Jiang Chen and the others at the KFC near our company. By the time I arrived, they had already been waiting for who knows how long. With several torn packets of ketchup lying on the table, I walked over and plopped down on the chair. Go on. What's the total? Jiang Yuanyuan immediately slid a paper document toward me. It's written here. Take a look. With some confusion, I picked up the item on the table. I pulled my sunglasses down to the bridge of my nose and took a look. The love expense reimbursement contract. Those 8 words nearly made my jaw drop. Oh my God, they actually drafted a contract. I'm truly amazed. Instead of opening the contract right away, I looked up at Jiang Chen. You drafted this contract, didn't you? I don't believe Jiang Chen's mother and Jiang Yuanyuan could possibly know all the expenses between him and me. Sure enough, Jiang Chen stiffened his neck and nodded. He was so ashamed that he couldn't even look me in the eye. I sneered and asked, then should you also return the money I spent and the gifts I gave you? Jiang Chen's mother quickly replied, don't worry, since you and Xiaochen have broken up, we won't take advantage of you. Just deduct what you spent and transfer the rest to Xiaochen. Deduct the rest? What nonsense is his mother talking about? Is there anything to deduct? Is there anything left? I spent far more on Jiang Chen than he ever spent on me. I tapped my fingers on the contract and spoke lazily. Are you sure you want to follow the contract and have both sides return the expenses as written? Of course we're sure. This contract is legally binding. Don't even think about coveting our family's money. All right, I nodded with a smile. Then I picked up the contract on the table and read it from beginning to end. Jiang Chen's side had calculated everything very meticulously. For the engagement, I gave 600 to each of my parents and 200 to each of the other 12 relatives, totaling 600 yuan. As for every penny Jiang Chen spent on me, from big-ticket items like a bag or a piece of clothing to small things like a cup of milk tea or a rose, everything was clearly listed. Adding up to 569 yuan. Altogether, the total came to 169 yuan. After double-checking, I confidently signed the contract. After I finished signing, their faces lit up with joy. Jiang Yuanyuan excitedly reached out to take the contract, but I stopped her. Wait, you've settled your accounts, but mine haven't been settled yet. Jiang Chen's mother snorted coldly. What's there to settle with your few $1,000s? You and Xiaochen have been together for 2 years. Consider it compensation for his youth. I've truly witnessed what it means to be shameless and invincible. So Jiang Chen's youth is considered youth, but mine isn't. I twirled the pen in my hand and said with certainty, first of all, my 2 years were also part of my youth. Secondly, you were the ones who insisted on following the contract. And lastly, I enunciated each word clearly. I've spent more than just a few thousand on Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen's mother rolled her eyes. How can your youth compare to my Xiaochen's preciousness? Our Xiaochen is good-looking, well-educated, highly capable. Being with him is an honor for you. Besides, you couldn't even give me a red envelope on my birthday. How could you possibly have spent tens of thousands on him? I shook my head with a wry smile. It's not tens of thousands, but hundreds of thousands. As soon as I finished speaking, all 3 of them widened their eyes in disbelief. Jiang Yuanyuan was the first to speak. Can you at least think before you brag? Those worthless trinkets you gave my brother, how much could they possibly be worth? Jiang Chen's mother also snapped back to her senses and said through gritted teeth, trying to fool us, not a chance. I calmly opened my phone's payment records and went through them with them one by one. For Jiang Chen's birthday in the first year, I gave him a Cartier tank watch, which cost 600 yuan. Then, for Qixi festival, I bought him limited edition signature sneakers for 4,099 yuan. The engagement banquet was hosted by my family. We covered your family's flight and accommodation expenses. The wedding favors we gave, for the women, a set of skincare products worth 2,599 yuan, and for the men, a Jingdezhen tea set, also valued at 2,599 yuan. I scrolled through my phone while observing the three people across from me. I watched as their eyes grew wider and wider, and by the time I finished listing everything, their mouths were hanging open wide enough to fit an egg. It was Jiang Yuanyuan who snapped out of it first. She shot to her feet abruptly. Impossible. My brother said all the things you gave him were fakes. He was ashamed of the fakes and threw many of them away. It turns out that the gifts I gave to Jiangchen, which he seemed to appreciate and like on the surface, were actually things he despised so much behind my back. I sneered and pulled up the electronic invoices one by one. See, official website, complete with invoices. Jiangchen looked utterly incredulous. But when you gave it to me, you clearly said they were all high-quality replicas. I held up my phone, shoving the electronic invoice right in front of his eyes. See clearly, this is an electronic invoice from the brand's official website. I couldn't have faked it. I said it's a high-quality replica just to spare your pride. After all, what you give me every time is genuinely not worth much. Jiang Chen's mother slapped the table. If you can't even afford to give me a red envelope, how could you possibly have the money to buy such an expensive gift? I sat up straight and smiled slightly. My money doesn't grow on trees. Why should I give you a big red envelope, you? I raised my hand to stop Jiang Chen's mother from continuing, my face cold as I said, enough talk, the money has been calculated now, so hurry up and fulfill the contract agreement. My calculations show a total of 229,989 yuan, after deducting the 48,169 yuan Jiang Chen spent. You still owe me 181,820 yuan. The contract is legally binding. Remember to transfer every last cent to me, if you try to weasel out of paying, I'll take you to court and apply for enforcement. The faces of the three people across from me grew darker and darker. They wanted to argue back, but they couldn't find a point to refute. After all, they had drafted the contract themselves. In the end, Jiang Yuanyuan actually stepped over and linked arms with me. Oh, sister-in-law, we were just joking with you. You're the only sister-in-law I recognize. This contract was just written randomly. It doesn't count. Ha, so funny. Just a second ago you were calling me by my name, and now it's back to sister-in-law again. I have to say, she really changes her expression faster than flipping a book. I pulled my arm back and corrected her. Let me emphasize again, Jiang Chen and I have already broken up. Stop calling me sister-in-law. As soon as the words left my mouth, Jiang Chen's mother also put on a smiling face and said to me, Tang Tang, I've always had a good impression of you. You're good-looking, highly educated, capable, and willing to spend money on our Jiangchen. A daughter-in-law like you is truly hard to find even with a lantern. I quickly interrupted. No, don't flatter me. Hurry up and give me the money, or else I'll contact my lawyer. Seeing that I wasn't falling for it, Jiangchen started playing the emotional card, saying with deep affection, My dear Tang Tang, my sincerity for you is as clear as the sky and earth. Something that no amount of money can buy. Let's not break up, okay? I shook my head expressionlessly. No, seeing my firm attitude, the three of them tried to persuade me with both soft and hard tactics, but no matter what they said, I insisted on breaking up and firmly demanded that they return the money. Jiang Chen's mother still wanted to make a scene, but I crossed my arms and warned, if you refuse to return the money, I'll call the police right away. By the time it goes to court, it will not only affect Jiang Chen's chances of finding a partner but also his civil service exam. Jiang Chen was already working while preparing for the civil service exam, and once he heard it would affect him, they finally gave up. Jiang Chen used all his savings, added his parents' money, and even had Jiang Yuanyuan borrow 80,000 in online loans to gather the full amount for me. Looking at the deposit notification on my phone, I felt extremely pleased. When I left, the three of them were still blaming each other. It's all your fault, Jiang Yuanyuan. Look at the terrible idea you came up with. You can pay back that online loan yourself. I'm not going to help. Why should I pay it back alone? That's not what you said earlier. Jiang Chen, don't be so shameless. Who's the shameless one here? If you hadn't tried to steal Lin Tang's bracelet, would any of this have happened? Well, I knew I was right. Jiang Chen knew about the bracelet theft and allowed it. I immediately took out my phone and called HR Manager Zhang. Manager Zhang, fired Jiang Chen from the design department. Are you kidding? I never told Jiang Chen that the company belongs to my dad. Later, I heard that Jiang Yuanyuan became a suggestive streamer to pay off her online loans. She hooked up with her top donor, but before she could enjoy the glamour, she was caught by the donor's wife. While trying to escape, she fell down the stairs and ended up paralyzed from the waist down. Because of this, Jianchen tried to blackmail the top donor and his wife. The couple, who never intended to compensate, set him up and reported him to the police, landing Jianchen in jail. Jianchen's mother completely lost face in front of relatives and friends, becoming the subject of their after-dinner conversations, and her life became quite miserable. Meanwhile, I was abroad studying financial management, with a bright future ahead of me. End of story.